Hi, I'm Dr. Linda Mintle. Hey, thanks for listening to the Dr. Linda Mintle Show. Faith radio podcasts are only possible because of your support. Thanks for giving and for sharing with a friend.
Doing life together, reaching out with hope, encouraging one another, each step along the road. You and I can make everything a little better, doing life together.
Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Linda Mintle Show. I'm your host, Dr. Linda Mintle, the relationship doctor, and I'm here along with my co-host, the other Dr. Mintle, my husband, Norm. And every weekend, we're here, we're doing life together, and we're so glad you've joined us.
We are. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, today I'm very excited. We're switching things around. I'm going to interview Dr. Linda. Ha ha ha. We're going to continue, actually, to discuss her new workbook on anxiety. Last time we did this, and I hope if you haven't heard that one, go back and listen to the first podcast that we did about her book. We had so many good tips and helps, and we're going to do some more today. So we're going to focus today, Linda, on the one chapter of your workbook called Lifestyle Changes That Can Reduce Anxiety. That sounds easy?
Has it ever been easy to make a lifestyle change? Like most of us know we need to lose weight. Do we do it? So lifestyle changes are something that we don't always connect to some of the consequences, I guess, of our behavior,
sure,
right?
right.
But they can really make anxiety worse. So we really do want to focus on this, Norm, and we want to look at our daily habits, and we want to see if there are ways that we could make them better that could actually help us better cope with anxiety, but really even eliminate anxiety.
That's the goal.
It takes a lot of work, though, to
Right.
change your habits. That is not easy. So this isn't like taking a pill.
Right.
Well, that's an easier thing to do. You have to make effort, but in the end, you're going to feel so much better, and there are no side effects.
You know, as we've talked about this, I think about one of your other books that you wrote, Living Beyond Pain. In that book, you talked about a concept from the business world that helped your readers better understand how small incremental changes can make a big difference in your physical health and your mental health. Talk to us about how, if it does, this concept also applies to lifestyle and anxiety.
Yeah, it really does apply. I didn't add it into the book again, but I think it's a really good way to think about what we're talking about today. It's a concept that's called marginal gains. And when we were doing research for the book, my co-author, who's a physician, Dr. James Cribbs, introduced me to a story from the British cycling team. Now, they had not won the Tour de France, Norm, in 110 years.
So that's the bicycle race every year
Yes.
in Europe that is very, very famous with the yellow shirt and all that kind of stuff. Well, I relate to that 110 thing. I mean, the Cubs won a World Series 108 years after the first one, so we almost caught up to them.
You can kind of relate to the concept of waiting so long, right? But listen, all of that changed when they hired a businessman to put the British cycling team on a new trajectory. So what made him different from previous coaches was his relentless commitment to a strategy that he referred to as the aggregation of marginal gains. It was a philosophy of searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything that you do. He said, the whole principle came from the idea that if you broke down everything you could think of that goes into riding a bike, and then you improve it by 1%, you'll get a significant increase when you put them all together.
Wow, that's kind of mind-boggling. How did they use it to win, or did they?
They did. They did. So they looked at every little aspect of riding a bike, like the tires and the seat and
The pedal
the color,
and the
the
handlebars.
dust, everything. And the idea applies to getting rid of anxiety. Every area of your life you can improve, even in a small way, and that will lead to a victory over time.
Interesting. And I think after you win, you want more winning, it seems
That's right.
to me,
These are winning strategies.
Right, that's right. Well, we like winning strategies. So let's look at some of those lifestyle changes you're talking about, things that we can change.
Okay, so absolutely. We're going to look at what we eat, how we move, how we sleep, how we manage stress. All of those things are going to shape our emotional experiences. And so if we make small, intentional shifts in each of these areas, we're going to be like that cycling team, and we're going to have a powerful impact
Good.
in our
Okay.
lives.
Well, let's start with your favorite exercise.
I know. I talk about it all the time,
All the
don't
time.
I?
Uh-huh.
I know, but physical activity is often mentioned for mental health. I mean, it's like a prescription that you give to people, but we have to get people up and doing it. That's the problem.
Right.
But it is very effective when you make these changes that we're going to talk about in the area of physical activity.
Why?
Well, it affects both the body and the brain.
Okay.
So it releases endorphins. Most people have heard that term before, those good, feel-good chemicals. Helps regulate the body's stress response. It also calms the nervous system. So think about anxiety. There's a lot of muscle tension,
right.
and you're calming it. And it improves your cognitive function as well. So all that worry gets worked on. Essentially, it prepares our brains and our bodies to handle stress more effectively.
Well, we've all heard people say, and in fact, probably not us.
You have said.
I don't have time
more
to
than
exercise.
It's true, isn't it?
I don't know.
It is true. Come on. Who's the one always saying, let's go for a walk?
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So what's your advice to someone like me?
I think it's a common problem.
Sure.
So I'm not going to single you out as the only
but
one. But you're
already
right
did.
here in the room.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
I know I've seen it in action. Okay, so here's the thing. Again, small amounts. We're talking about small amounts. So even 10 to 15 minutes of walking, stretching could help you reduce those anxious feelings. So one tip is to schedule what is called micro exercises into your day, like walking while you're on the phone. Our son does that all the time. He just moves when he's on the phone. Or taking the stairs instead of the elevator.
Okay.
So little things, little micro things.
Okay. Give us an example of how this works in real life.
Well, I'm thinking of my dad.
Okay.
You know, he was very active when he was in his 90s.
Right.
Even, right? He lived in Michigan. The winters were long and cold, so you could have sat in the house and hibernated.
No kidding.
In that state, right? But to stay active, he and his friends met daily at the mall for walks. They did simple, consistent, enjoyable things, and that's what matters. They weren't doing extreme workouts, but that routine movement that they continued to do on a regular basis made a big difference.
Sure. That makes it feel a lot more doable when you're talking about it this way. How about some tips for beginners?
All right, so start small, track your activity, set some realistic goals, and gradually increase your intensity. Now, choose something that you enjoy, because if you don't, you're not going to stick with it.
That's for sure.
So, like for me, I hate running. I'm not going to do it. So don't force it. Dance, bike, swim, take a 15-minute walk. Just consistency, that's the key. And then enjoyment will really increase, like I said, that you'll stick with it.
Sure, that makes total sense.
And then try a movement mini break. I like that phrase.
I like the mini part.
Stand up, stretch, march in place for 2 to 3 minutes. That's an easy one. You can be watching television, stand up and march in place, and notice how your body feels before and after. You're going to start to notice that it takes the stress and the tension down.
Sure. And we have little hand weights, just little tiny 3-pound, 2-pound things, and you can do that while you're watching TV.
We're watching TV. We're just moving our body, right.
This is so practical. I suppose
you just
it
need
helps.
To do it.
Yeah, well, that's it. If we understand that the plan that we're talking about decreases anxiety, I think it might motivate us a little bit more. Okay, next one, nutrition. Most people probably don't realize how much their diet affects their anxiety. We know it affects a lot of other things, and yet we have heard the phrase, food is medicine.
That's right. Now, it's not going to be a cure for anxiety, right? But healthy eating patterns do play a crucial role in shaping your mood and your overall mental health. So what you eat can either support or hinder your ability to manage stress and anxiety. So foods high in sugar, processed ingredients, they can really worsen your mood. Nutrient-dense foods support your brain health and emotional regulation. So, for instance, a client noticed that eating a sugary breakfast left him jittery and anxious by mid-morning. And all he had to do was switch to a protein type of breakfast, and his mood was much more stabilized during the morning.
Okay, what about coffee?
Well, coffee isn't... Well, we're going to get to caffeine in just a minute, because that is something we need to talk about.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, because in today's world, so much of our food we know is highly processed.
It is.
It's
it
filled
really
with
is.
artificial ingredients, refined grains, Here's my favorite one, trans fatty acids.
Yeah, it's bad for you, though.
Processed meats and excess sugar.
Yeah.
What's a trans fatty acid?
Oh, there's so many of them in our
okay.
food. Just look at the back and you can see it in almost all the foods that you
Oh.
eat. So all these factors contribute to anxiety. That's the point we want to make.
Right.
And on the other hand, if you do something like a Mediterranean diet or something where you are eating more protein and fruits and vegetables, you're going to support brain health. It's also going to reduce inflammation and stabilize your mood. Now, like I said, this isn't going to be like a magic cure, but it creates a solid foundation for your emotional health.
Okay. I'm not asking you to give us an anxiety-free diet here, but can you give us some action steps to help us improve our nutrition that creates better mental health?
Yeah, we'll start, like I said, with a protein in the morning. So eggs, yogurt, a smoothie. Include whole grains, fruits and vegetables at meals. Drink plenty of water. Identify any trigger foods that make you feel anxious or irritable. So sometimes when you're eating something really high in fat and sugar, it just makes you feel ugh. Afterwards. Pay attention to that. So some people even keep a food and a mood journal. So when I eat a certain way, oh, there's a pattern here. Every time I drink a bunch of energy drinks and eat a bunch of carb-loaded stuff and that's full of sugar and fat, I feel terrible.
Well, that's good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one? Sleep. You talk about sleep a lot. Many
I do.
listeners struggle either falling asleep or staying asleep. Does that impact our anxiety levels?
Yeah. So again, I know I bring it up in a lot of our shows, but it's when anxiety takes over, our minds are racing with worry, making it hard to fall asleep or even to stay asleep for a lot of people. So this sort of mental, we call it like a hyperarousal. Our brains are just sort of being stuck constantly on. Well, that's a big factor for insomnia. So anxiety can even trigger vivid dreams, nightmares during REM sleep, that rapid eye movement sleep that we need, adding to feelings of just feeling uneasiness. So the lack of restful sleep can leave us feeling drained, overwhelmed, and more vulnerable to stress. And then that can generate even more anxiety the next day.
You hear a lot of people saying, I feel tired when I wake
know.
up.
Well, this is one of the reasons why that happens. So, and unfortunately, we live in a very busy, modern life, and that doesn't help us. So certain jobs, like some of them in healthcare, the military, law enforcement,
Yeah.
high-stress industries, they have these irregular hours, these night shifts where they have to stay awake and they get all messed up with their sleep. Those are really, problems that people have to look at. And then in addition, the blue light emitted from our technologies, phones, our tablets, our computers, they trick our brain into thinking that it's still daytime. And that makes it harder for us to wind down at night.
So I think I'm hearing you say that sleep and anxiety are inextricably related to each other.
Yeah, two-way relationship here. Anxiety can make it hard to sleep, and poor sleep can heighten anxiety. So that lack of restorative sleep can lead to irritability, low energy, and really difficulty focusing on things, all of which make anxiety worse. So by improving your sleep habits, you can break this cycle.
Okay, so help us do that. What are some practical steps?
Well, create a sleep-friendly environment.
Okay.
Dark, quiet, cool. Stick to a consistent bedtime and a wake-up time. So irregular times don't help you get on a schedule.
Right.
Avoid screens at least 30 to 60 minutes prior to bed so that it doesn't trick your brain into thinking you're still awake. And if you really struggle with a lot of thoughts, journal them, close the book, and then give them to the Lord.
Nice. Now, there are a lot of people I've heard say, well, if I have a glass of wine or a beer before I go to bed, it helps me sleep.
Yeah, it might feel like a quick fix to relax. It can make you feel anxious or irritable later as your body processes that alcohol. So alcohol can actually interfere with your sleep, making it harder to get the restorative rest you need. So in the long haul, it doesn't really work.
Okay, I want to come back to the one I brought up earlier, caffeine. Is it good, bad, indifferent?
Man, do you remember I noticed this connection between caffeine and anxiety when I was in college.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to pull these all-nighters. We had no idea how bad that was for our brain, staying awake. We should have gone to sleep. We would have remembered things better. But we stayed up all night. And I remember some days, Norm, I would drink 8 to 10 cups of coffee because we're just drinking coffee all night to stay awake.
Sure.
And then I started getting really anxious and I felt jittery and irritable. And I didn't really know. And I went to talk to the student health person and she said, well, how much coffee are you drinking? I went, wait, there's a link?
Yeah.
She was like, yes,
What
there's
does
a
that
big
have
link.
to do with anything?
It makes you anxious. It makes you restless, especially like those large amounts that I was consuming. So try to stop drinking caffeinated beverages like coffee or soda or even energy drinks at least 10 hours before bedtime to avoid interfering with your sleep.
Well, you and I have always said we can't have anything past this hour. And
Well,
then the older we get, the
it goes
hour
up more.
creeps earlier and earlier.
Because it does make us stay awake if we drink it too late at night. I don't know. My dad was in his 90s and he was drinking coffee
All the time.
at 10 o'clock
I
at
know.
night and sleeping like a baby. So there's differences, obviously, in body chemistry.
Those
but
people who tell me that make me anxious.
I know. And then, try to limit your coffee to 2 cups probably in the morning.
Okay. Some people are reluctant to quit smoking because they say smoking relaxes them.
Well, nicotine is a stimulant and it can disrupt sleep patterns, causing you to wake up in the middle of the night. It's not helping your anxiety actually in the long run. There are lots of smoking cessation programs that are available that you should really try to quit smoking. Talk to your doctor about what might be right for you. But people feel anxious when they quit because they're withdrawing from a substance.
Right.
And so then they smoke. Of course, they're getting a hit of something again that wakes them up. So that's not a good program.
Right.
Because in the long run, it's going to be problematic
It's
for you.
kind of a crazy cycle.
Yeah. And then let me say something about
Okay.
cannabis because
Here we go.
I'm
Absolutely.
on a rampage about cannabis and anxiety. It actually makes anxiety worse.
No, it mellows
No,
you out.
listen to me. Listen to me, every listener. There is no data that shows that this works for anxiety. It makes it worse in the long term. We did an entire show on cannabis. I would really encourage you all to listen to it. The bottom line is this. It makes anxiety worse over the long haul. It's not helping you.
Good. We've
All
heard
right.
it. Well done.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I have a thought. What if we just learned to end our day in a very peaceful and calm way?
That's a great way to end your day, isn't it? Prayer, reading your Bible, listening to beautiful, reflective music, and then even reflecting on the positive and grateful things can calm your mind and let you go, into a peaceful state. That's the best way to end your day.
I like it. Okay, these have all been good. We're going to bring out more right after this very quick break. Stay with us on the Dr. Linda Mintle Show.
Whenever I start to sense anxiety, it feels like an old friend of mine that I don't like. Certainly when that happens, I'm asking God to come into this with me with prayer and also pick up the phone or talk to somebody. It breaks the grip.
When I am faced with unexpected situations, that is one of the big anxiety triggers.
Anxiety? Anxiety's the boogeyman. It jumps out and grabs me when I'm least expecting it. But also, like the boogeyman, it's a creation of my mind, and therefore subject to the Word of God.
When I'm feeling anxious, this is what I do. I pray and I go for a walk.
Anxiety does not have to control your life because God has provided the perfect prescription. Learn how to lean on Him for your peace, your strength, and your hope with Dr. Linda Mintle's new book, Hope and Healing for Anxiety, available wherever you buy your books.
Mother and daughter relationships are powerful, and they impact all our other relationships. Think about it. The way you react with your mom typically is the way you might react with other people. Yet this important bond can be filled with tension when both women try to find their own voice and develop a sense of self. So working through the mother-daughter relationship can be a challenge, but it is so worth the effort. Hi, I'm Dr. Linda Mintle, and I would love to help you navigate this important relationship and strengthen it to the best it can be. That's why I wrote I Love My Mother, But, a book to strengthen the mother-daughter relationship. Available on my website, drlindamintle.com, or online where books are sold.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Dr. Linda Mintle Show, and I'd love to remind you, if you'll let me, so I'm going to. Thank you very much. That you can follow Dr. Linda on her social media platforms, X and Instagram. It's the @ Dr. Linda Mintle, at Dr. Linda Mintle. Or on Facebook, you can find her at Dr. Linda Mintle, author and speaker. Social media is such a great way to keep up with her speaking and her writing and her blogs. You can also find out about her new book on anxiety that we're talking about today. That's on her website. If you click the link, you'll find out everything you need to get the book. Or you can just go wherever books are sold online and get your copy. Linda, I love that you always include spiritual practices in your books, and you've done it again this time. Tell us, let's think about, how does faith tie into managing anxiety?
Well, you know, Norm, I teach at an osteopathic medical school. And so we're always talking about body, mind, and spirit and the interconnection of those, right? And so if you think about a lot of practices, there are several that are mind, body, spiritual practices that ties it all together, like prayer, like meditation, Bible reading, or even gratitude exercises. All of those calm the nervous system, and they foster trust and they foster hope in people. And we go through those in the book. I mean, there are lots and lots of exercises on ways to do this that we're not going to talk about in today's show, but there's a lot of help in those areas. So spiritual practices provide the perspective, the connection, and the peace that you need to buffer any type of anxiety.
That makes sense. So let's talk about some of them, though.
Okay.
First, gratitude. My kids always heard me say, you need an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah, we did.
It was a quick, easy way to remind them, but it's a biblical principle, giving thanks.
It is. And incorporating gratitude into your daily practice will really change your mind. It'll change your brain. It'll ease that anxiety. It'll take it away. So every morning you can begin by rehearsing 3 things you're grateful for. Then just pause, reflect on each one, and then notice the physical and emotional change in your body. It'll shift your perspective. It'll reduce anxiety. But there's something that you need to do with those gratitude exercises. The more detailed you are with what you're grateful for, the better it is. So add detail.
Yeah. Not, I'm grateful for waking up.
Yeah. No, add some detail to that.
Got
for
it.
waking up and seeing the beautiful landscape outside of my window would be a way to do
Good.
that. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, here's another one. What about time management? We know that the lack of good time management often stresses us out. Is there a correlation here?
Yeah, I mean, time management is really key. That makes a lot of people anxious. Right. It really does. So this is just extremely practical. Just work on your time management steps.
Because then you're not running late to a meeting.
Right.
You're not worried about missing a call or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
just break down the tasks, figure it out, back time yourself, get someone who can help you. Use your notifications on your phone to make you stay on top
Remind
of things.
you, right.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I know a lot of people get anxious about money and finance.
It's a big contributor to anxiety. Again, I'm going to take you through some exercises related to your finances and help you take control of those by budgeting, saving, seeking professional help. Some of you may need to do that. If you have a clear financial plan, you're going to feel more secure. You're going to not feel anxious. You're
Right.
not going to feel out of control.
You're not going to worry about it.
Right. So there's a lot of tracking of your income and expenses and figuring out a plan for your life that will really help.
Okay. Here's one I don't know we often think about, although you mentioned it earlier, and that is limiting how much violent or distressing media we consume.
Yeah, this might surprise you, but constantly consuming violent or distressing media, like you said, whether it's news reports, violent movies, disturbing videos, all of those increase anxiety. So the more we hear about violence, the more our stress response is activated. Take a break from all that negativity and opt out of all of that. Try to look at things that are uplifting and nourishing of your mind.
That's good. That's a really good one. You know, today we've covered, I'm going to call it a boatload of helpful changes. But if you couldn't remember them all or you didn't have a chance to write them down, you can download this podcast and then you can take some notes, listen to it again. So how should our listeners approach all this that we've talked about today without feeling overwhelmed? Because we've given them so much.
A lot. But I would just pick 1 or 2 things that feel doable and then start building on them gradually. So each positive habit reinforces the next. Reflect on what works for you. Adjust. Remember that progress is more important than perfection. Small, consistent lifestyle changes will have a compounding effect over time. So if you do it gradually, it's going to work. Remember, you have the power to make choices that positively impact your mental health. Each healthy change includes spiritual strategies, builds on the next, creates a life where you can manage stress and anxiety with more ease and more resilience. You can do this, and if you need to break it all down, get the workbook, and it'll walk you through each one of these steps.
Good.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Many thanks to my co-host, Norm Mintel, who makes the show a conversation, to our technical producer, Wan Jingpu, and our editor, Katie Sims-Wilson. From all of us here at Faith Radio, hey, we'll talk to you again next weekend. In the meantime, remember, we're doing life together, and it's better when you don't have to do it alone.
Doing life together.
Hey, thanks for listening to this conversation from the Dr. Linda Mintel Show. These conversations are available because of your support. Become a supporter now at myfaithradio.com. Please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any episodes, and share it with friends so we can live life to the fullest, walk confidently, and find healing and hope.